Stop for a second, my child. Ivy sent you a private message. Ivy been waiting for your attention because you need what I am going to say, not because I need it. Don't hurry this. Don't take this lightly. Every word matters for where you are at this moment, so stick with me to the very end. I am going to talk about aspects of you that you don't often share with others. I will reveal ideas you have suppressed. You will miss what your heart has been longing for if you leave too soon. Pay close attention. Bend over. I am going to share something personal that will alter your perspective on things. Come near, my kid, and allow this to feel peaceful for a little. I am not talking to everyone at the moment. I am talking to you. This is private. I've seen you go about your days with ideas that you never express out. Even when something inside of you is uneasy, you have learned how to function. When someone asks how you're doing, you respond with something straightforward and basic. However, both of us are aware that there is more below that response. You've been harboring doubts. You've been asking whether I still see you in the specifics. You've been wondering, sometimes silently, if your life is as important as you had anticipated. I want you to grasp something quite clearly. I didn't stray from you. I haven't been sidetracked. I've been paying attention to you all along. I was keeping a close eye on you while you felt invisible. I remained steadfast while you weren't sure where you stood with me. This message isn't generic consolation sent into the air in the hopes that someone may catch it. I know precisely where you are emotionally at this moment, thus it is aimed directly at you. I am aware of the strain you feel in your chest as you consider your future. I am aware of the silent disappointment that results from things not going as planned. I know I observed how you dealt with such things in private, even if you might not tell others how much they affected you. After that, I could feel the weight you carried. You've been more powerful than you understand, but it doesn't mean you haven't been exhausted. Even when your heart felt weak, you persevered. I care more about it than you realize. I also want you to hear this without passing it through your skepticism. My intentions do not overlook you. There are moments when you think I am preoccupied with noisier life, with folks who seem more assured or spiritual than you. I don't view my kids that way. I see every aspect of you, including the things you wish were different. You don't need to conceal your I am not sure. You don't need to tidy up before you approach. The way you assess yourself is not how I measure you. I have never been tougher on myself than you are. I am not going to repeat your errors with you. I am not disappointed when you ask whether you've postponed your goal. I have patience with your procedure. I am aware of how you feel, think, and even lose yourself in your own thoughts. I intentionally created you. I am not surprised by anything about your personality. It's not your flaws that worry me, but the way you let them to make you distance yourself from me. I am talking frankly now because of this. Where proximity belongs, I do not want distance to grow. You must understand that even if you are unable to follow your path, I am still deeply involved in your life and continue to guide you. Things are happening that you are not yet able to see. Furthermore, your present season does not prove that you have been abandoned. It is a component of growth. I am molding your comprehension, your endurance, your viewpoint. I am fortifying regions that will be important in the future. You might not notice a significant difference today, but even as you listen, something inside of you is stabilizing. Stay with me right now. Don't hurry past this, let it soak in. Your heart required confirmation that I am close to you, paying close attention and genuinely devoted to your life, which is why I am sending you this private message. Let me take you further, my kid. You've now gone around rooms believing you were by yourself in your ideas, but I was there before you came. You thought no one could relate to how your heart felt stretched thin as you sat in stillness late at night with your phone turned down and your thoughts racing. I got it. I wasn't watching you from a distance like an outsider analyzing your actions. I was in close proximity to you, even more so than your breathing, and I could sense every minute change in your soul. I could see the tension in you when your confidence declined and you attempted to make up for it by remaining calm. When you assured others that you were all right, I heard the discrepancy between what you said and what you actually said. Don't downplay that. I don't ignore your inner struggles just because others can't see them. You've questioned if your silent perseverance matters at all. For me, it matters. The times you refused to give up, the times you ingested potentially harmful words. When you felt justified in your rage, you exercised restraint. I observed those options. They didn't have any drama. They weren't open to the public. However, they were genuine. I also appreciate the true. I believe that I only take note of great faith or spectacular gestures. I don't gauge dedication that way. When no one is cheering you on, I see the little, steady choices you make. When it would have been simpler to compromise, I watched you choose honesty. I witnessed you retreating from a situation that would have disrupted your tranquility. Even if you felt silly for expecting that matters, I witnessed you try, again after being let down. It's common to think of paradise as a place where achievements are loudly celebrated. But when you just keep going, there's a calm delight. There's a level of perseverance that you don't give yourself credit for. When you look at your life, you see incomplete tasks, unfulfilled prayers, and excruciatingly sluggish progress. I see formation in your life. In areas that were formerly reactive, I see maturity developing. Where impatience used to dominate, I see tolerance expanding. This season may be described as unremarkable. I refer to it as crucial. Now pay close attention to what I have to say and don't dismiss this. There are untraceable ways that you are protected. There were results that may have developed in a different way. Certain talks have the potential to get more heated. Opportunities that were good but would have exhausted you did exist. I silently rerouted a few of them. I deflected some blows. Some attachments were about to tighten around you, but I stopped them. I saw the whole image, but you didn't. And I continue to work on your behalf in that manner. You are not the only one managing turmoil. There is control over your life, even in situations that seem random. But that doesn't imply you won't have problems. It indicates that difficulty does not have the last say. Now take a breath, shut your mind. Let this settle. You don't just happen to be alive. Luck is not the reason you are still standing. I have been subtly protecting you. I've been fortifying you from the inside out. Even if you don't feel strong, you are stronger than you were a year ago. Compare your current and past approaches to handling stress. Observe how you bounce back from setbacks. It didn't happen by accident. I have been molding you via circumstances that at the time seemed inconvenient. Don't be angry at the procedure that brought you stability. And with this knowledge, I urge you to take action. Give up convincing yourself that you barely surviving. You redeveloping. Give up presuming that quiet equates to passivity. Even when you can't see movement, I am still working. Have faith in that, embrace that. Tell me the truth about what still frightens you. Instead of keeping your perplexity to yourself, let me into it. I am not afraid of your queries. Bring them along. I would rather that you engage in an open struggle with me rather than discreetly leave. We are keeping an eye on you, observed with caution rather than suspicion. There's a distinction. I am not looking for fake dur. I am trying to figure out how to help you go forward. I care about your long-term well-being, tranquility, and clarity. You can loosen up your shoulders a bit. Every time things seems unclear, you may cease preparing for catastrophe. While you worry, I am not asleep. I pay attention. I am involved. Remember that. When your mind tries to persuade you that you are managing life on your own, let it serve as an anchor. And now pay attention to what I am going to say, because it relates to this protection that you seldom ever notice. Quiet seasons have been perceived by you as rejection. Because you did not receive prompt responses, you presumed that. I must have taken a step back. You don't realize how much that conclusion has affected you. You waited, prayed, and felt ignored when there was no discernible change. I would like you to reevaluate that interpretation. Absence is not the same as silence. Sometimes I speak plainly and loudly, and other times I let quiet shape me. Visible change is something you tend to cherish. Deep transformation is important to me. You concentrate on measurable results. I concentrate on roots that endure increased strain. Consider the most recent season that caused you frustration. You requested clarification. Rather, you were given a delay. You requested a resolution. Rather, you felt space. That area wasn't vacant. It was a pivotal experience. In that silence, you grew more self-conscious. You faced motivations you had never considered before. You identified behaviors that needed to be changed. You would have missed the internal strengthening that had to take place first if I had hurried to respond to you externally. That doesn't constitute punishment. That's getting ready. I don't want to offer you something you aren't yet stable enough to handle, because I care too much about your long-term stability. Sometimes you regard waiting as if it weren't a failure. You can improve your perception by waiting. It can show you what is really important to you. Impulsive decisions can be calmed by it. Over the past year, you have become more considerate. You didn't like the pauses that led to that progress. Something vital was developing inside of you when you thought nothing was moving forward. You were becoming more discriminating. You were developing self-control. You were starting to respond less. These changes are fundamental rather than flashy. I want you to take action right now. Think back to a time when quiet left you feeling alone. Rather of calling it carelessness, inquire yourself what you underwent throughout that time. You could notice that you grew more stable. You may have noticed that you no longer sought approval from unsupportive sources. You could notice that your standards have become more apparent. It's not a coincidence. That is development that is fostered in silence. There is a type of strength that only emerges when there is little external certainty. Now you are developing that strength. It enables you to stand without continual affirmation. It teaches you to have faith that goes beyond immediate proof. When I am silent, I am not ignoring you. I frequently operate in layers that are too complex for a brief explanation. You like outward successes. I am dedicated to having a strong character. I also need you to accept this without any protest. You re not being ignored, we re-stabilizing you. That distinction is important. You may feel as though you are in a state of halt while others advance. You re not falling behind. Your readiness and timing are in sync. Instead of hurrying into anything, I would rather that you walk into something substantial. Things would cause you to fall apart. Thus, change your viewpoint. Don't assume that being still is a sign of neglect. Let things be as they are, an inner life workshop. Even if I don't respond right away, keep talking to me. Continue being truthful. Continue to show up. Don't back down just because the reaction isn't dramatic. Growth doesn't necessarily make a big statement. In the silence, you are not alone. I am there. And if you give yourself permission to believe it, you'll discover that the quiet you once dreaded is really keeping you solid for what comes after that. I want you to spend a little time with me here, my kid, because you don't comprehend how important this portion is. You don't often identify the weight you've been carrying. You have obligations that put pressure on you from several angles, expectations that linger in the background and personal setbacks that you conceal from others. You re-funky. You appear, you respond to messages. You take care of things from the outside, you appear stable. However, I can perceive the slight tension in you. I observe how seldom does your mind take a break. I can see how thinking about all that depends on you makes your heart clench. And I want you to hear this clearly. You were never supposed to do everything by yourself. You came to believe that quiet equates to strength at some point. You came to the conclusion that being trustworthy entails bearing pressure without showing discomfort. I did not give you that definition. Suppression is not necessary for strength. Isolation is not necessary for reliability. You've been controlling, modifying, adjusting, and going above and above to ensure the comfort of others. Your heart is admirable. I appreciate your willingness. However, I do not want you to live in a state of silent excess. I want you to take note of how frequently you downplay your own weariness. You claim it's okay when it's not. Even when you are exhausted, you keep going because stopping feels like a failure. You tell yourself, I can handle it. Pay attention to me. Take a time to pause. Instead of feeling what you believe you should feel, experience what you are truly experiencing. Inhale slowly. Drop your shoulders. You don't need to demonstrate resilience for me. Your capacity for endurance in quiet does not inspire me. Your well-being is important to me. What you are holding has layers. Practical financial issues, deadlines, health issues, and family relationships are a few of them. Emotional, unsolved talks, unsaid pain, and lingering regret make up some of it. A portion of it consists of spiritual inquiries concerning purpose, timing, and direction. You combine everything and attempt to proceed with your day as though it were doable. It makes sense that trying to hold everything at once would make you feel strained. It crowds your inner world. I would like you to think about an alternative strategy in me which you have no control over. Make a conscious effort to do it. If necessary, say it out. Tell me exactly what's bothering you. Don't sanitize it, don't summarize it, give specifics. I want you to honestly acknowledge the specifics even though I already know them. Relief and release are here. There is lucidity and admission. I am extending an invitation for a holy conversation. I take on your burden, I provide you stability. Poetic exaggeration is not what that is. That's readjustment. Your hands are exhausted from holding worries so tightly. Let them open. Allow me to completely repair what was never yours. You don't have to be emotionally invested to act appropriately. You don't have to fall apart on the inside to care, sincerely. I am not requesting that you leave your life. I am pleading with you to put your confidence in me. There's a distinction. Additionally, you must cease basing your value on your level of success. You fix issues, but it doesn't make you valuable. Because you maintain your strength, you are not appreciated. I picked you, therefore you are mine. Even when you are exhausted, the truth endures. You will wear yourself out trying to win my approval if you continue to associate your identity with production. Allow me to change your viewpoint. You are free to require assistance. You are free to express your fatigue. You are free to acknowledge that you were harmed by something more than you anticipated. Being honest doesn't make you weaker, rather, it makes you stronger. Rather from hardening you, it keeps you human. I would prefer you come to me vulnerable than afar. I would rather you lean toward me hesitant than stay aside claiming you are unaffected. Come closer instead of pulling back. When you feel overwhelmed, do not shrink into seclusion. Approach me. Speak plainly. Ask for help. You do not have to compose spectacular prayers. You can say I am tired and that is enough for me to respond. Let me now present you with a comparison that could change your perspective. Carrying dread and carrying responsibility are two different things. Responsibility can be handled step by step. Fear multiplies weight unnecessarily. Examine what you are holding. A portion of it is healthy and focused on action. Some of it is imagined outcomes that have not happened. Release the imagined disasters. Focus on what is real. Do not let anxiety exaggerate tomorrow. Stop your thoughts when they start to go out of control. Tell yourself the truth. You are not alone. There is support for you. The pressure does not abandon you. Both practically and personally, I am with you. When you feel stretched, I am steady. Don't just invite me to your crisis, invite me into your schedule. Before your decisions become burdens, include me in them. Be mindful of my presence as you go about your day. When you realize that you are not the only one carrying it, you will notice that the weight changes. Allow yourself to become aware of that. Allow it to stabilize you. And remain receptive as you sense that change, because I need to talk to you about something else, my child. I am aware of how frequently you contrast your timeline with that of others. As you browse through pictures of prosperity, security, and joy, you silently assess your own development in comparison to what you observe. You tell yourself that by now you are to be farther. You wonder if you turned in the wrong direction. You wonder if you overlooked a window that won't open. Your tranquility has been subtly stolen by that comparison. It has been murmuring that you are inadequate, that you are running behind schedule, or that you are not as successful as you are to be at this point. Right now, I need you to stop making that comparison. Shut down that mental ledger. Give up comparing your value to the accomplishments of others. Your life is not a clock-synchronized race. Your journey has its own preparation, pace, and goal. I won't tell your story in the manner of someone else's highlight reel. I am molding your path to fit your abilities, your calling, your development. From my point of view, what appears to be a delay might actually be alignment. The entire architecture of your future is not visible to you. I can assure you that I don't waste your time. I'll be honest about timing. You think there's a bolded expiration date on that opportunity. There are times when you think something will never happen if it doesn't happen by a certain age. That presumption is unfounded. It stems from pressure. Without wisdom, the world encourages urgency. It motivates you to succeed, swiftly to visibly accumulate in order to demonstrate progress in public. You are not being hurried through your own formation by me. Depth is more appealing to me than speed. You might not have had the maturity to handle certain responsibilities if I had given them to you earlier. You might have built on shaky foundations if I had accelerated some outcomes. Longevity is more important to me than immediacy. It's not just your entrance that matters to me, but also your endurance. When it comes to what is meant for you, you are not late. What should be in your because of someone else's timeline, life won't pass you by. Let go of the worry that you've lost your opportunity. I am not the source of that fear. I want you to do something useful now. The next time you notice that comparison coming up, stop and focus on something else. Ask yourself how you have evolved rather than why someone else is ahead. Take note of what you have learned rather than what you lack. Setbacks have given you insight. Disappointment has given you discernment. Through challenging seasons, you have developed resilience. These attributes are strong even though they are not glamorous. They help you get ready for sustainability. Unbeknownst to you, you are constructing something stronger. Slow progress should not be written off as a failure. Thus, it can be stable. Stable can be powerful. Strong people can persevere. Additionally, there is something about visibility that you must comprehend. Not all valuable things are available to the public. Some of your most significant advancements have occurred in private. You've battled uncertainty and arrived out more clearly. You've experienced personal turmoil and become more grounded. Although that increase is not trending online, it is really important. You're redeveloping into someone who is more than merely showy. I care about that. When the appropriate possibilities present themselves, you will seize them with confidence rather than uncertainty. Since you will be aware of who you are, you won't require continual affirmation. It takes time to develop that level of confidence. Thus, I am requesting that you change your lens. Put an end to calling your current season behind. Consider it a form of preparation. Think of it as placement. Think of it as silent building underneath the surface. When you become frustrated, let me join you. When you're feeling down, be honest with me. Instead of allowing that feeling to develop into resentment, I would rather that you bring it to me. Proceed without the continual burden of comparison. Continue working on the task at hand. Continue to take care of your character. Continue to rely on my pace despite public pressure. Your life is not off course, it's happening. You not behind either. You being ready. For a little time, my kid, I want you to gaze back alongside me with curiosity rather than regret or hatred. You knocked on some doors, but they didn't open. You wished some chats would have turned out differently. Some of your well-thought-out ideas unexpectedly fell apart. You were feeling confused at the moment. You wondered whether I had been misheard. You questioned whether you had been disregarded. On certain days, you were almost ashamed that you thought anything positive was going to happen. I was present at that precise the point at which your expectations were not met. I saw the change in your gaze. I could feel the disappointment settling in your chest. That delay was perceived by you as denial, or even rejection. However, I urge you to reevaluate that view. It wasn't unkind to close the door, it was coverage. There was no rejection in that interruption. Redirection was the cause. Only the surface was visible to you. I could see the building underneath. The opportunity wasn't ready for you, but you were prepared for it. Although you want the connection, the partnership did not support your long-term tranquility. You believed that you were precious, but I could see the hidden price. I protected you from some repercussions, so you never had to face them. You were able to escape some entanglements because I discreetly tightened the limits. Because it didn't appear to be successful, you might not be happy with that protection. It appeared to be a setback. However, I don't gauge protection, I give and applaud. Preservation is how I gauge it. If I had let some circumstances to unravel completely, they would have undermined your self-esteem, warped your priorities, or diverted you from the necessary personal development. I don't want to give you anything that shines for a short time before crumbling. I am dedicated to helping you live a sustainable life. Let me now address the annoyance you had while waiting. You questioned me about why things were going so slowly. You asked if I wasn't paying attention to your prayers. You saw other people take what you wanted. And you pondered in private why your time frame felt stuck. I didn't disregard you. I was adjusting conditions you couldn't see. Behind the scenes, I was aligning parts. Certain delays are intended to avoid harm. The purpose of certain pauses is to improve judgment. You discovered patience you were unaware you lacked until you were unable to proceed. You gained trust that you would not have selected on your own when you had no influence over the result. Internal building strengthens you in private but does not follow public trends. I was more worried about your basis as opposed to your speed. I want you to do a certain thing right now. Examine one delay that continues to annoy you. Consider the effects it had on you rather than dismissing it as wasted time. Did it make you more conscious? Did it strengthen your limits? Did it improve your standards? Growth is sometimes concealed by inconvenience. I am aware that you want seamless transitions, but they don't necessarily make you stronger. Resistance makes priorities clear because some friction creates resilience. Because of what happened, you are now stronger, not take place. Because of all you had to endure, you are now wiser. You also need to hear something else. I am not using pauses to punish you. I am using perspective to keep you safe. You become more anxious when you struggle with time. You lessen needless stress when you have faith in my pace. I am not reluctantly keeping good from you. Your life is being purposefully sequenced by me. I can see the entire architecture, but you can't. I am setting you up for stability rather than just speed. If I had forced certain benefits into your hands, you may have grasped them out of insecurity rather than appreciation. It's possible that you relied on them rather than me. I am not creating that kind of life with you. Thus, when something doesn't open right away, don't presume abandonment. Request understanding. Rather of closing down, let me into your perplexity. Talk openly about how disappointed you are. I am able to answer your inquiries. Your disengagement is what I do not desire. Continue to be involved. Keep your eyes open. Remain open-minded. Waiting for the appropriate door is not the same as pushing one. Instead of exhausting you, I want you to go through doors that extend you. There was more to the delays. They were deliberate. They were packed with preparation, safety, and learning. Even if you didn't celebrate them at the time, you will eventually realize that what you had considered to be tragedy really contained kindness. Have faith that my self-control in your life does not equate to neglect. It's concern. Additionally, once you let that reality to sink in, there's another area I must carefully uncover. You don't talk about it very much. It softly resides inside you. It appears when you least expect it, yet it does not control all of your thoughts. A person, a moment, a memory, a lost chance. You haven't totally processed it, but you've learned how to deal with it. I am well aware of what I mean. I can identify it without you having to speak it out. I was present when it took place. I saw a shift in your expression. In that moment, I sensed your optimism evaporating. You attempted to recuperate fast. It was important to you, even if you told yourself it wasn't that important. It matters to me because it was important to you. Most people didn't recognize how calmly you took that setback. You didn't snap. You didn't fall apart in public. You made adjustments. You recalibrated, yet you had self-doubt. You questioned whether you had miscalculated the circumstances. You played back chats. You examined your own behavior. You even wondered if you had really envisioned the possibility. You don't realize how much internal analysis has been involved. You became more wary as a result. It discouraged you from having high hopes. That makes sense. However, I don't want your future expectations to be defined by disappointment. I want to do more than simply help you deal with it. I want to heal it. Even if you could believe that time has already fixed everything, confidence is not always restored by time alone. Sometimes it only lessens the severity without treating the wound. I am asking you to deliberately bring that memory back to me. Don't ignore it. Take a seat with it. Tell me how you felt about it. Tell me the emotional cost to you. Don't be dishonest. Your hurt does not anger me. I pay attention to it. Honesty is the first step toward healing. You will be subtly cautious in circumstances that call for transparency if you continue to act as though it no longer concerns you. I want you to let go of that defensive stance. Additionally, there's something you might not have thought about. A letdown shielded you from a connection that would have needed, make a compromise. It diverted you from a version of yourself that would have been too demanding. You observed us. I witnessed the avoidance of limitations. You witnessed rejection. I observed sophistication. That does not imply that the suffering was unimportant. It implies that it had some significance. I can include your sadness into your creation. I can make up for what seems squandered. Without being naive, I may make you eager to hope again. Now pay close attention and accept this without protest. You are free to have hope once more. Keep one open. Chapter persuade you that it will be repeated in other chapters. You are not meant to experience disappointment again. Your judgment is improving. You becoming more clear. You growing more rooted in your identity. That maturity will influence your future choices in a new way. Let the lessons stay in place, but let go of any residual guilt. Give up the uneasiness and let the understanding remain. Inhale deeply and beg me to give you newfound self-assurance. Allow me to change your expectations. Don't bear your sorrow in silence as if it were enduring. I am able to change it. Through that, I can make you stronger. I have the ability to transform what was once perceived as a setback into a stabilizing factor in your narrative. The fact that you were let down does not make you weak. Since you are a human, I am here to ease the tension that was silently building within of you at that particular time. Keep your eyes open. Permit me to keep working there, and when you sense the beginning of your recovery, realize that the joy I am creating in you now will be deeper and more stable than you can ever conceive. As I mend the disappointment, beloved, you have carried in quiet, and I am giving you newfound bravery. Bravery that not only gives you hope again, but also aids in the restoration of others. You are not supposed to be the end of what I heal in you. You are sowing seeds into injured soil all across the world. When you decide to support this message using the PayPal link in the description or the Super Thanks membership, I said give and you will receive it. And I say that to you today not as distant text but as a live promise. I am restoring your faith in the same manner. In your faith, increase what you surrender. For those people who are still sitting in silent disappointment tonight, your kindness becomes oil in the lamp that keeps this light burning. This is not a minor deed. It involves taking part in redemption. I am asking you into a partnership if your heart is yearning to lend a hand. Take action right now. Thus, lend a helping hand and let your rekindled optimism to become someone else's breakthrough. I want to talk softly but clearly into a spot you don't often reveal, my kid. You frequently measure yourself with a scale that changes based on your most recent error. You have a brief sense of stability when something goes smoothly. Your own opinion swiftly shifts when anything goes wrong. You consider your choices, your tone, your timing, and your words. Long after a discussion has concluded, you continue to relive it. You question if you talked enough or too much. You wonder if you made the right decision. You examine yourself more closely than you would examine a loved one. I also need you to realize how weighty that self-criticism has developed. Although you could believe that it keeps you humbled, it frequently makes you reluctant. It undermines your confidence even if you may believe it keeps you from making the same mistakes. The limited perspective you apply to yourself is not how I view you. I observe behavior. I see progress. I see motivation. I don't consider you to be a failure when you stumble. I examine your heart's design. I have never been more harsh on myself than you are. Sometimes you confuse censure with conviction. You are drawn to change by conviction without making fun of your identity. Condemnation undermines your identity and persuades you that you are inherently defective. I don't condemn you. When I correct you, it's intentional and exact. It's not ambiguous or depressing. I am not the source of any thoughts that make you feel unworthy, insignificant, or permanently disqualified. I don't take apart what I've made. I do not reject you, but I do purify you. You need to have the ability to discern between constructive and harmful reflection, ruminating. Clarity comes from reflection. You become caught in shameful loops when you ruminate. Observe how spending too much time thinking about what you should have done differently depletes your energy. That tiredness is not an indication of development. It indicates that you are making needless accusations of yourself. I want you to take a useful action. The next time you get that familiar surge of self-doubt, take a moment to deliberately tell the truth. Remind yourself that development is a process. Remember that maturity is a development. Over time, don't let a brief error define who you are forever. If someone else were in your shoes, you would be gracious. Give it to yourself. That isn't haughtiness, it's in line with my perception of you. Your worst day does not determine who you are. Your most uncomfortable moment does not sum you up. The fact that you are still learning does not disqualify you. Allow that reality to sink in. You're removing, you're regrowing, you're not done yet. You also need to let go of something else. You've been contrasting your inner turmoil with the outward calm of others. You presume that someone else must not struggle with the same insecurities just because they seem confident. Your own self-criticism is amplified by that notion. You see their highlights and contrast them with your unspoken worries. Give up doing it. The human feeling of insecurity is not unique to you. You prefer to emphasize your shortcomings while downplaying your positives. I can definitely see your strengths. Your empathy is evident. Your insight is evident to me. I observe your perseverance. These attributes are not coincidental. They are proof of progress. Now pay serious attention to what I have to say. You can develop without hating who you are right now. Self-loathing is not necessary for improvement. You don't have to punish yourself to advance in order to be mature. You will never feel safe if you continue to associate value with perfection. I don't want you to be perfect before you experience love. I am asking you to develop from a safe haven as opposed to working hard. Inwardly, straighten your posture. Recognize that you are undergoing a process. Talk to yourself honestly rather than angrily. Learn from your mistakes. Remain grounded when you achieve success. Don't, however, vacillate between pride and humiliation. Remain steady. Be mindful. Remain receptive to criticism without giving in to it. I would like you to engage in an alternative internal discourse. Interrupt that critical voice as soon as you see it getting harsh and acerbic. Put the truth in its place. Remind yourself that you continue to develop. Remind yourself that whatever your flaws, you are not alone. Instead of hiding in that moment, let me into it. I'll lead you carefully. I'll point out where you need to make adjustments. I'll boost your self-esteem without making you feel better. That equilibrium is important. You may maintain your humility without shrinking. To be grounded, you don't have to overstate your shortcomings. I say you are worthy, therefore you are. Not because you accomplished something noteworthy. Not because you didn't make any mistakes, but because I own you. When self-doubt attempts to change who you are, let that serve as your compass. In my hands, you are not brittle. I am determined to mold you without embarrassing you as you develop. Continue to tell the truth. Allow it to lessen the cruelty you've been inflicting on yourself for far too long. Sometimes you wish you could silence something about yourself. You have strong emotions. You pick up on minute changes in tone. You are able to detect emotional undertones that others fail to notice. You can tell when someone is in pain. When stress, you sense it almost instantly when someone walks into a room. Sometimes the awareness wears you out. UV thought if being less sensitive, observant, and emotionally aware might make life simpler. UV even called yourself overly sensitive. I wish to contest that designation. Your sensitivity is a feature, not a flaw. I gave you the ability to feel so that you might connect, care, and distinguish. If left unchecked, it can become overpowering, but you don't have to get rid of it. UV probably had times when someone disregarded your response as overanalyzing or overreacting. Those remarks persisted. They caused you to doubt your gut feelings. Instead of investigating your reaction, they urged you to repress it. However, maturity and repression are not the same thing. Being mature means being aware of your sensitivity and knowing how to manage it. You can survive without numbing yourself. Boundaries and perspective are essential. When you feel something strongly, take a moment to think about it instead of acting on it right away, evaluating it. Consider the direction that the feeling is taking you. It can occasionally show empathy. It can show fear at times. Recognize the distinction. You may predict needs before they are spoken thanks to your emotional awareness. It enables you to provide consolation without being asked. It enables you to identify irregularities in potentially dangerous surroundings. That isn't a sign of weakness. Perception is that. But you have to be careful not to take emotional responsibility for other people. There's the line separating excessive empathy. You don't have to bear what isn't yours in order to care sincerely. Recognize the difference between what you are supposed to release and what you are supposed to support. Allow me to participate in that discernment. I'll assist you in determining the benefits and drawbacks of your sensitivity. I also want you to think about how you have been safeguarded by your sensitivity. Before you had rational proof, there were times when something didn't feel right. Deeper damage was avoided by that internal signal. There were connections in which you identified imbalance early on. You saved time and effort because of that insight. Don't write off your impulses as a sign of weakness. They have a role in how I lead you. However, stability must be combined with sensitivity. You cannot allow your identity to be determined by every change in mood. Feel your emotions, but don't let them define who you are. When your emotions are rising, rapidly, deliberately slow down, inhale. Before you respond, ground yourself in reality. Talk to me then. Express your emotions without embellishing them. Rather than making assumptions, ask for clarification. Your emotional resilience will grow as a result of this activity without diminishing your empathy. To grow strong, you don't have to harden your heart. It must be anchored. When combined with wisdom, the kindness in your heart becomes powerful. Don't apologize for having strong emotions. Rather, take care of that depth. Let it deepen your empathy without overpowering your tranquility. Use your energy wisely. Establish boundaries as needed. Retract when you need to refuel guilt-free. Being emotionally accessible to everyone at all times is not necessary. When properly directed, your sensitivity transforms into gentleness and strength. Integrity transforms it into wisdom. With insight, it turns into compassion. I intentionally created you. Comes to how strongly you feel. I did not make a mistake. Instead of attempting to change that aspect of yourself on your own, bring it to me. I'll show you how to have depth without becoming overwhelmed by it. And once you master that equilibrium, you'll realize that what was formerly thought of as a weakness is actually one of your greatest assets. There are things going on inside of you, my kid, that you can't see with your own eyes. You are always searching for outward signs that things is shifting. You want unmistakable changes, unmistakable breakthroughs, and unambiguous indicators. But I want you to know that some of the most significant work I perform for you is discreet, cautious, and silent. While I am laying foundations, you are looking for fireworks. You are looking out over the horizon for motion as I replenish the strength under your feet. Healing doesn't always make a big statement. It frequently happens gradually, almost undetected, until one day you react differently to something that used to make you uncomfortable, and you recognize that progress has been made. Consider how you used to respond to specific words that were said to you. Consider how easily you used to swallow criticism or let rejection determine how you felt. Observe how frequently you halt now. Observe how you challenge your presumptions before accepting them. Observe that you no longer spiral as deeply as you used to. A shift was not an accident. I've been modifying your internal reactions. I have been soothing irritated wounds. I've been fortifying regions that used to feel weak. You are not as rattled, although you can still feel sensitive. Though you are not as erratic, you could still experience emotion. That's advancement. It is important even if it is subtle. Some memories used to cause excruciating pain when they came to the surface. They feel less erratic now. They do not control you, yet they are still important. Work that is healing. It wasn't forced by you. It wasn't only you who planned it. I have witnessed your processes. I was directing your contemplation while you sat in silence and thought about the past. That insight was not coincidental when you re-examined an unpleasant encounter and viewed it from a different perspective. I was assisting you in untangling it. Instead of training you to perceive distortion, I was teaching you to see with depth. You frequently believe that since you must not be making progress if you have particular feelings. That is untrue. Eliminating emotion is not the same as healing. It entails changing the way your emotions affect you. You relearning to feel without giving up. You relearning how to recall things without having to relive them. You relearning to put the past behind you and move on. That is the development of maturity within you. Although it is not striking, it is long-lasting. I now request your cooperation in this procedure. Give up expecting transformation right now. Give up convincing yourself that you are to be later on. Instead, actively participate. Don't freak out when an old wound reappears. Bring it over to me. When insecurity murmurs, use the truth to silence it. Remain grounded in the present when your anxiety of tomorrow becomes overwhelming. Be truthful when you speak. In real time, invite me inside your reactions. Say, I feel unsettled. Help me respond wisely. This straightforward request creates room for clarity. Additionally, restoration is taking place in locations you don't often visit. We are cautiously rebuilding your trust. Your reaction to uncertainty is decreasing. Your emotional resilience is growing. That's not a coincidence. I am fortifying your inner world so that the outside world has less influence on you. Uncertainty used to make you more susceptible to instability. And now, rather than embracing your anxieties, you challenge them. Growth is that. For you, it is transforming even if it might not appear amazing to others. I need you to believe that I am working on things that you are not aware of. You don't notice every change I make creating. I am strengthening protective boundaries that you are not aware of. You are not aware of all the false beliefs I am gradually addressing. However, your lifestyle will show the proof. One day you will encounter a circumstance that used to overwhelm you, but you will manage it calmly. It won't be a fortunate occasion. It will be the result of unseen mending. So quit looking for significant changes all the time. Rather, develop awareness of silent advancement. Consider how you have developed in endurance. Think about how you can now communicate more effectively. Consider how you bounce back from disappointment more quickly. These are significant issues. They are signs that something within of you is getting stronger. Give yourself permission to relax in that understanding. Even if you can't see the work, you can believe that I am paying attention. Not all healing is audible. In methods that foster resilience without spectacle, it may occasionally be steady, and you becoming stronger than you know, my kid. Keep your eyes open, have patience. Continue to be open to developing. I am not done molding you. And you will be able to survive in seasons you haven't yet reached because to what I am creating inside of you. I am aware of how your thoughts go ahead of you, my darling. You may be sitting calmly, then all of a sudden your mind is racing with hypothetical situations. You envision the worst-case scenario. You expect financial hardship, your crucial tendon. You predict health issues. You attempt to fix issues that do not yet exist. You convince yourself that mental preparation will lessen the impact in the future. However, your body frequently absorbs stress from hypothetical situations. Imagined catastrophes make your heart clench. Your mind won't stop working, so you get lighter. Sleep. I recognize that pattern in you. I see how frequently you prepare for potential problems. How many of those imagined disasters have actually happened just as you predicted? Very few. In an effort to feel ready, your mind inflates dangers. But fear-based preparedness wears you out. I am not asking you to shirk your responsibilities. I am requesting that you let go of excessive eagerness. Careful preparation is not the same as internal anxiety. Planning entails deliberate action. Repetitive projection is a feature of panic. Lately, you've been leaning more toward projection. Please move that for me. When anxiety about the future arises, take a purposeful break. Don't let your mind go wild. Put them in the light. Consider what is hypothetical and what is factual. Based on your current knowledge, ground yourself. Instead of attempting to consider every scenario, invite me into that area. You don't have to fix the problem tonight. To be safe, you need to predict every factor. In the next days, I am already here. You are not entering an unprotected future. I want you to put something concrete into practice. Speak the truth out loud when fear of what might happen arises. Say, I will handle what comes when it comes. Say, I am not alone in this. It is not denial to say, today is enough for now. It's self-control. The spiral is broken by it. It shifts your viewpoint. While you have no control over every result, you do have power over how much room you allow fear. Additionally, you have been linking your sense of security to unpredictable outcomes, such as professional predictability, financial stability, and relationship assurance. Although these objectives are admirable, they do not provide complete security. If you base your tranquility just on stability outside of yourself, it will vary continuously. Instead, I grid in my stability. I don't adapt to changes in the market. Relationship strain does not cause me to falter. Even in situations where things are inconsistent, I remain constant. Admitting that you are not in complete control may be liberating. Admission does not make you weaker. It gives you relief. You've been attempting to figure out how to be certain. Extensive analysis is not the source of certainty. Trust is the source of it. Risk is not eliminated by trust. It lessens risk-related anxiety. You may make sensible preparations while keeping one's composure. When you stop believing that you have to anticipate every obstacle, you can achieve that equilibrium. Take a look back at seasons that used to seem unpredictable. You made your way through them. You adjusted, you gained knowledge, you developed. You were unsure of your ability at the moment. You're still standing here though. You should be reassured by that trend. You underestimate your degree of adaptability. You underestimate your level of resourcefulness. Additionally, you are not working alone. Thus, the next time you consider, slow them down as they sprint ahead into perceived hardship. Take deliberate breaths. Instead of being afraid of the unknown, invite me into it. Go one step at a time. Pay attention to what is currently in front of you. Let tomorrow stay tomorrow. When it gets there, I'll meet you there. You don't have to bear the burden of an unrealized future. Let go of that load. Have faith that I am already in the days you are concerned about. You'll also find that the current moment becomes lighter as you start to let go of imagined catastrophes. Remain in this place. Remain grounded. Remember that you are being held, not only today but every future that you are yet unable to envision. There are times in your history, my kid, that you discreetly consider wasted. When you look back, you see choices you wouldn't do again, delays and diversions. You recall years that seemed fruitless, relationships that exhausted you, and endeavors that failed to provide the desired results. And something tightens inside of you as you read those paragraphs again. You convince yourself that you ought to have known better. You compute how far you could have gone if you had made a different decision. Right there, I need you to slow down. Stop using such harsh rhetoric to accuse your past. You are not the only person who experienced those years. In those, I was with you. I wouldn't have let you develop through those seasons the way you did if they were completely pointless. You notice time lost. I perceive learning in layers. You observe a halt in progress. Beneath the surface, I perceive strengthening. You gained the wisdom that you did at that time of uncertainty not previously possess. You learned to distinguish between appearance and sincerity when you experienced disappointment. You learned how to stand without continual affirmation when you were rejected. The packaging for such lessons was uncomfortable. They emerged from conflict, annoyance, and occasionally humiliation. They weren't empty, though. You were being formed by them. You were starting to think more carefully. You were starting to behave less impulsively. You were growing more rooted in your principles. Time was needed for affirmation. It needed experience. It necessitated experiences that went beyond your comfort zone. I don't treat your years carelessly. I don't let whole periods of your life go unnoticed. You continued to study even when you strayed emotionally and doubted your path. You tend to romanticize the route that was not chosen. You imagine that everything would be more sophisticated, clearer, and cleaner if you had made a different decision. That presumption disregards the development that occurred solely from the path you took. According to the version of you that exists today, the early ones were deficient. You are more conscious of yourself. When making promises, you are more cautious. You are more aware of your limits. These attributes are not unintentional improvements. They were developed by personal experience. You wouldn't have depth if I eliminated every error from your narrative. You wouldn't be humble if I had protected you from every mistake. I don't want to tell you a perfect story. Building a robust heart is something I am interested in. I want you to do something deliberate now. Go back to a year you once thought was a waste. Determine what you learned rather than what you failed to accomplish. Put it in writing. Recognize the patience that grew throughout periods of slow outcomes if you need to acknowledge the growth that happened quietly. Observe the power that developed when you were forced to stand by yourself. Don't write off those seasons as lost. They were investments in your personality. Even while you might not have noticed profits right away, the dividends are manifesting in your current self. You must also acknowledge a more profound reality. What you regret I can make up for. I am able to incorporate your history into your mission. There is nothing you gave me that cannot be repaired. Even your mistakes can serve as indicators of your intelligence. Even your perplexity can serve as evidence of your increased clarity. The fact that your journey was flawed does not disqualify you. Because it was genuine, you have grown. Let go of the narrative that your previous decisions have caused you to be behind. Let go of the guilt associated with years that felt unchanging. You are not beginning from scratch. You are beginning with experience. That distinction is important. Experience is valuable. Insight comes from experience. Experience brings courage when it's appropriate and caution when it's needed. Take an honest look at yourself. 5 years ago, you were a different person. You react in a different way. You have a different way of thinking. You make different decisions. Evolution did not occur in a vacuum. It took place during the very seasons you are now doubting. So quit referring to them as wasted. Give them a call formative. Refer to them as refining. Call them essential. I want you to go past the accusations of your past and stand in the present. What you failed to achieve in the past does not define you. The lessons you've learnt along the way have strengthened you. Have faith that I will incorporate even your flawed chapters into a meaningful story. I am capable of restoring, reshaping, and realigning everything in your life. Give that time to sink in. You didn't waste your years. They were preparing you for the future. You carry a certain loneliness that doesn't go away in a crowded space. Even when you sit around friends, relatives, and co-workers, you may still feel a little alienated. You take part in discussions. When it's appropriate, you laugh, interact when it's expected of you, yet there are aspects of you that you don't express. There are moments when you fear that you might be misinterpreted or disregarded if you shared all of your thoughts and emotions. Thus, you filter yourself. You don't share enough to be completely seen, but you share enough to connect. This self-control has produced a calm seclusion. I am aware of its existence. I've seen you go through it. Lack of people does not make you lonely. You want to be recognized without self-editing, which makes you lonely. It is not a sign of weakness, it is a human. Honesty is part of the relationship that was meant for you. You protect yourself momentarily but progressively separate yourself when you suppress your deeper thoughts out of fear of rejection. I am not asking you to share every aspect of your personal life with the world. It's important to have discernment. However, I am pleading with you to avoid emotionally isolating yourself everywhere. If you give yourself permission to enter them gradually, you can make safe connections. Even if you were helpful, there have been times when you felt invisible. Although they didn't fully get who you are, they admired what you accomplished. You feel invisible because of the imbalance. You are visible to me. I can see the doubts you have about who you are. I recognize the conflict between the need for intimacy and the fear of being vulnerable. I observe how frequently you opt for quiet. I want to gently disrupt that trend because it feels safer than taking the chance of miscommunication. You can be confined or protected by silence. Begin modestly. Share something genuine with one person you can trust. It doesn't need to be theatrical. It can be as easy as acknowledging that you've been feeling overburdened. Give someone a glimpse into your inner life. That step is a bridge out of loneliness, even though it could feel uncomfortable. It is not necessary to take down every wall at once. Gradually lower them. Carefully invite a bond. This loneliness has a spiritual component as well. There are moments when you question whether I really comprehend you in a way that others do not. Even if you have faith in me, you still wonder if I care about your particular feelings. They too. Talk to me openly about any instances in which you feel misinterpreted by others. Tell me where the pain was. Tell me where you felt disregarded. Those experiences are not far away from me. I am additive. When you contrast your connections with what you believe they are, loneliness frequently gets worse. Ought to be let go of irrational expectations. There is no human connection that can satisfy every facet of your quest for understanding that doesn't emanate from others. It is a fact of human limitations. Let your expectations become reasonable. Don't expect perfection, instead look for deep connections. Living in emotional isolation is not your destiny. Your depth is not supposed to be suppressed forever. Open areas for genuine conversation gradually. Please include me in that procedure. Seek bravery where fear has dominated. I will lead you to mutually beneficial and healthy relationships. Above all, be aware of this. To me, you are not invisible. Your silence does not go unnoticed. I am aware of your compassion, humor, hesitancy, and complexity. I am familiar with the side of you that people don't often see. You don't have to do anything to get my attention, it's already yours. Start with me and let yourself be known in layers. Talk honestly, gradually let go of your guardedness. Have faith that you deserve to be connected. That encompasses your true self. And you'll see that loneliness starts to wane as you follow those instructions. In this, you are not by yourself. You've never been. I must express a belief that you seldom publicly acknowledge, my child. Sometimes, deep down, you imagine that I am silently disappointed with you, standing far away with my arms crossed. You had higher expectations. You assume that I must be fed up with your sluggish advancement, your ongoing difficulties, and your incomplete development. The way you approach me has been influenced by that picture. You approach with caution. You pray with caution. Because you don't want to confirm your concern that I am not happy, you censor your remarks. Please let go of that image. I am not like that toward you. I am not irritated when I look at you. I don't groan at your pace or compare your trip to an unattainable benchmark. I see progress when I look at you. I see someone figuring out how to deal with complexity. I see someone who perseveres after making mistakes. I care more about that than perfect performance. You have developed in ways that you do not rejoice. You now hesitate instead of reacting impulsively as you once did. You used to absorb criticism right away, but now you doubt it. Certain stresses used to cause you to crumble, but now you can handle them. That's not a coincidence. That's advancement. Furthermore, advancement does not always follow a linear path. You have days when you feel confident and days when you feel weak. Your overall gain is not negated by that variation. You have a tendency to obsess about your flaws. Seldom do you stop to realize how far you've arrived. I can definitely see both. I can see both your growing strength and your areas of weakness. Your difficulties don't surprise me. Long before you encountered them, I foresaw them. I am not surprised by any of your flaws. Sometimes you come to me as though you need to defend yourself. You make a list of your efforts. You emphasize your self-control. You make an effort to demonstrate your seriousness. I don't need you to win my approval. I am asking you to have faith in me. There's a distinction. When you far away from me, it's usually because you've persuaded yourself that you must regain intimacy. You don't deserve to be near to me. You go back to it. You are sincere. You arrive just as you are. A polished presentation is not necessary. Sincerity is necessary. Let me tell you the truth. Rejection is not the same as correction. When I advise you to make changes in your life, it's not because I am dissatisfied with you, rather. It's because I care about your well-being. I invest in your potential, which is why I purify you. I don't throw you away when you make a mistake, I instruct you. I give you strength. When needed, I reroute you. I would back off if I was genuinely disappointed in you in a judgmental manner. I haven't withdrawn, though. I am still here, I am still talking. I continue to provide guidance. That ought to reveal something about how I feel about you. I would like you to attempt something deliberate. Come on over the next time you're afraid to approach me because of anything you regret. Don't hold off till you feel deserving. Don't wait to connect till you feel better. Bring your incomplete self. Bring your perplexity. Bring your inconsistent behavior. I am not weak. Your complexity is manageable for me. Perfect behavior is not the foundation of the relationship I want with you. It is predicated on open communication. In my opinion, you are not a letdown. I have a strong commitment to molding you. You are a work in progress. Even if you minimize your efforts, I can still notice them. Even when you doubt your heart, I can see it. Even if your execution isn't perfect, I can still perceive your intention. Release the notion that I am never happy with you. The fact that I am patiently invested in you should take its place. Your relationship with me will change as a result of that transformation. Your approach will become softer as a result. It will make you feel less anxious. It will enable you to approach fearlessly. Take a time to consider that fact. Give it time to settle. You are not being watched all the time. You are constantly being cared for. And even when you are floored, that concern remains unwavering. I am not disappointed in you. Additionally, your wish to assist in carrying my voice even more. My spirit is moving within you, as evidenced by the compassion you are experiencing right now. By supporting this mission with a Super Thanks membership, or by making a donation using the PayPal link in the description, you are assisting my message to reach people who still feel let down by me. Let your light so shine before others, I said, and your generosity turns into that light that drives out darkness in places you might never physically visit. Never undervalue the impact of a single act of obedience can spark. A spark turns into a flame, and a flame turns into an awakening wildfire. This area is sacred, a divine appointment masquerading as a straightforward choice. I will protect your provision, expand your capacity, and pour back into you, pressing down and overflowing as you give. This is one of those times if you have ever wanted to help me in a concrete way. Now move forward. Encourage, give, and allow your faith to transcend emotion into action. There's something in you, my child, that comes naturally to performance. You discovered early on that success was frequently followed by approval. You found that when you were capable, calm, and productive, you received praise. You eventually started to equate value with productivity. When you started dating me, that way of thinking persisted. You took it with you. You think that I evaluate you in the same manner as other people. Thus, you make an effort to pray correctly. You make an effort to behave consistently. You make an effort to uphold perfect spiritual discipline. Additionally, when you miss a day, become distracted, or feel spiritually uninteresting, you fear that you have let me down. Your faith feels more burdensome than it should because of that pressure. You don't have to make an effort to impress me. I am not using spiritual performance metrics to evaluate you. I am not keeping track of your quiet moments. Your consistency is not being ranked by me. I am curious about your sincerity. You could talk to me honestly for 5 minutes instead of performing beautifully for an hour. Admitting that you re-distracted is preferable to pretending. You re-very focused. Because performance obscures reality, it creates distance. You don't have to hide from me. Think about how draining it is to uphold an image. You repress vulnerability when you feel that you must always project strength. You deny uncertainty when you think you have to be confident all the time. Tension results from that suppression. It turns our relationship into a chore rather than a bond. I didn't intend for this relationship to be an ongoing test that you have to pass. I intended it to be a trusting environment. I'll give you an example that might be useful. The distinction between performance and discipline is as follows. Desire and dedication are the foundations of discipline. Fear and comparison lead to increased performance. It's discipline based on love when you spend time with me because you truly want intimacy. You are acting in an insecure manner when you spend time with me out of fear of losing my approval. I want yourself, control to come from desire rather than fear. Let go of the need to look your best in front of me. Should tell them you re-exhausted. Say so if you re-confused. Say so if you are having trouble believing something. Your humanity does not surprise me. Your candor does not offend me. Honesty actually strengthens bonds. Intimacy increases when you stop performing. Acknowledging that you cannot maintain perfection also has a liberating effect. You weren't meant to have perfect spiritual momentum. You were meant to develop gradually. On certain days you'll feel steady and involved. On other days you'll feel far away and preoccupied. Your relationship with me is not terminated by those fluctuations. Your humanity is reflected in them. Even when you are inconsistent, I am. I want you to approach me in the same way that you would a loving father who is already aware of your inclinations. You don't have to recite lines you've practiced, torque organically. Make inquiries. When you're frustrated, express it. When thankfulness arises, celebrate it. Let's have a genuine conversation. Give up trying to earn what has already been provided. Give up gauging your intimacy by your output. Before you accomplish anything, take comfort in the fact that you are accepted. This acceptance is not brittle. It doesn't change based on your performance or mood. Now take a breath and release some of the pressure. I am not on stage with you. I am at home with you. Everything is altered by a difference. And once you internalize it, your faith will start to feel more like a relationship based on trust rather than a show. Something has been stirring inside of you lately, my child, but you haven't been able to fully express it. It is subtle, almost like a change in the atmosphere prior to a change in the weather. You are aware that something is changing on the inside, but you are still unable to identify any outward signs. On certain mornings, you awaken quietly aware that you have changed. You have a different way of thinking. You react in a different way. Before you respond, you hesitate. You are no longer as motivated to pursue what once drew your interest. That change is not coincidental. It's not a change in mood as motion. It is a peaceful, steady, and sacred movement. And rather than questioning it, I want you to acknowledge it. You've been pleading for change, but you thought it would come with a bang. You picture dramatic situations, unmistakable signs, and obvious announcements. Rather, what I am doing to you is quantifiable and significant. I am changing your appetite. I am honing your desires. I am bolstering some goals while softening others. I am releasing attachments that were once necessary. Even though doors aren't opening yet, you're getting ready to enter them in a different way. Internal alignment is more important than external acceleration. Your capacity increases as your character changes. Your decisions get better when your viewpoint becomes more stable. I am creating alignment between your future self and who you are becoming. Keep an eye out for things that no longer pique your interest. Take note of the conversations you can no longer stand. Acknowledge the boundaries you are starting to establish without feeling guilty. These are growth indicators. That is proof that you are moving. Quietly, you are changing. Don't write it off because it's not spectacular. Before they are exposed, the strongest structures are strengthened. The longest, lasting changes start below the surface. It's an internal reordering season for you. The external world will eventually reflect that reordering, but first it needs to be safe within you. Instead of opposing this change, I want you to support it. Lean into introspection when you find yourself drawn to it. React thoughtfully when you feel that some habits need to be changed. Just because something is comfortable doesn't mean you should stick with it. Sometimes it's necessary to let go of once safe patterns in order to grow. I am not taking away your happiness. I am honing your focus. Instead of focusing on things that will divert you momentarily, I am aligning you with what will sustain you in the long run. There might be times when this change feels awkward. You might feel a little disconnected from those who used to understand you with ease. That discomfort may indicate that you are maturing rather than regressing. Your relationships may change as your priorities do. Don't freak out. Let the procedure take place. Pay attention to what I say. When you're confused, ask me for clarification. I won't let you deal with change on your own. I also need you to quit doing something. Give up trying to define the result too quickly. This shift needs to be labeled as soon as possible. You want to guess where it will go. Let it breathe. Let it grow. I am calling on you to come forward and make a comment now. Since you have heard my private message and are prepared to work as my cherished heir, I am yours to ground your spirit in. Make your commitment unforgettable and enduring in the heavens by using your words to deliver a powerful shock to the gloom. You are not merely typing on a screen when you make this public. You are creating a new reality and realizing that I have given you the clever ability to alter your world. Don't wait. Forecast your surrender right now and observe how my glory starts to permeate every aspect of your life. Amen.